Hi guys, welcome to my little paintbrush. Today we're going to be painting Baby Groot. He's obviously a fan favorite, so I'm so excited to paint this with you. Remember, you can pause the video, speed it up, do whatever works for you. That's the beauty of a recording. So I'm going to be keeping a steady pace as I go here, but just know you don't have to go my speed, okay? I have a couple of brushes I'll be using today. I have a large flat, medium flat, and a detail brush. These are my favorites for this painting, but you can use whatever works for you. I also have a jar of water and all of my paint laid out. And you can see here how I've separated my whites. That's very important because we don't want to contaminate our white all at once. So be sure to separate those first thing, okay? To warm up, we're going to paint our background first. I've chosen to do mine blue. You can do whatever color you like. I'm also going to first put my largest brush in water, just because acrylic paint needs water. I like to tap off the bristles a little bit on my jar. And then I'm going to mix some of my blue with a lot of white to get this light shade of blue. I start light because I can always make it darker very easily just by adding a little more blue. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of just swirl it around. I don't over mix when I'm doing this background because I like to see different shades in my background. So I just kind of swirl it just like that. Make sure you have enough that you can cover your whole background. You don't want to run out of paint too soon and have to try and match your color, right? So I'm going to start at the top and just brush up and down, filling in all of my canvas pockets. I'm going to try and be careful as I get close to my image, not to paint inside Groot here. If you accidentally do, it's not a big deal, but I do try not to, so I don't lose my outline. We have our leaf here at the top too as a guide. So I'm going to try and go around that as careful as I can along the top. We also wrap our canvases. It just looks really nice if you want to do that. Just reach up high as you go and along your sides. You can paint those too. And then it just looks really nice for the shelf, for the wall. And as you can see, I haven't gotten really close to Groot here. I'm painting around and haven't taken the time to get super close to the image. I'll show you how to do that here in a minute. Right now, I'm just filling in my space to get that done. And if your paint feels like it's not going on very smooth, keep in mind that acrylic paint does need water. And so it will help it go on so much easier if you have water in your bristles. So if you need to stop from time to time and add some water to your bristles, do that. Okay, I'm gonna come around these arms because Groot's dancing for us today. Okay, so now that I've gotten all the way around my image, I'm gonna put a little white on the corner of my brush here with my blue. And I'm gonna go around my image with that white facing it and float around. This helps so I don't have to get too close. It takes some of the stress out of getting really up close to our image and all that detail we don't need to worry about. So I'm going to quickly go around, and it also adds a lot of light to our painting, which any chance I get, I like to add some light. So I'm going to go around with that, filling in my space around the arm. And I still have blue on my brush, not just white. That helps it fade into our blue a little easier. Go up and around the pot here. And then because Groot's dancing, we're going to add some strokes of white to make it look like we have some movement going on in our background. I'm going to show you how to do that here in just a second. First, let's just finish up going around our image. So have to keep grabbing that white and floating it around. Getting close, but not too close. Around those earphones, or headphones, not earphones. What century are we in? Oh. Groot likes his headphones, though, as we know. Okay, go up here and around, keeping that white facing our image. And we'll get the top here. Here we go, just around the edge. And the very top around our leaf. There we go, we got it all. And then you can leave any brush strokes you like in the background. It just adds to your painting all those fun strokes, right? Okay, so now to add that movement to my painting, I'm just gonna take this white on my brush. First, I've got to blend that. You can just brush it in to the background around Groot. And then when you're coming up to the arms here, because the arms are supposed to be moving, right? We want to give the illusion that they're moving. So I'm going to take some white and just swirl it around the arms here to make it look like they're moving. Almost, you can imagine the paint being the wind, as if that wind is moving around the arms from that motion. That. So cool. You can add as much as you want. Just keep it swirling as if those arms are moving up and down in a curved motion. And you can obviously add more than me if you want to, if you really want that to show more. I'm going to do a little bit more up here around the headphones and the pot. I just liked a lot of movement happening in this painting. Swirling it around, Groot up top here. Lots of motion. Perfect, just like that. Now I'm going to rinse my brush. Okay. And then let's take our flat brush and rinse it and get ready to put our first layer of brown on. So I'm going to grab a little bit of white here and add it to my brown. I want to start with the light shade. And then we can also darken it as we go, but I always start light. And imagine wood, right? A tree is growing up. So when you are painting Groot's head, you want to paint up and down, okay? To create that look as if the wood is growing up. So I'm painting up and down rather than side to side. And to get different shades in wood, whenever you're painting wood, you can add a little bit of white to the corner of your brush like this. And try not to overpaint, because the more you brush, the more you'll lose any of those white streaks. But do you see how there's some white strokes showing up in the wood? That's the goal. That's what we want. So I try to brush up and down and let those white streaks show up. You can always add more later. So if you accidentally do overbrush and lose it, it's really okay. Go around my edges here. Getting my shape. Okay. There we go. I'm going to go around the eyes as best I can. It's okay if you paint over them a little bit, as long as you can see them. That's the most important thing. You just want to be able to see them. Awesome. Okay. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to add a little more water to my brush. Finish up this side. We're going to come down next to my earphone, you know? Got to remember that it's not earbud. Let's see. Around the eyeball. As long as you can see them, we're good. Now we're going to follow the bottom around. I just curve it slightly as you come around that side. And brush up. Already looks so good. That edge, just clean it up. The longer you pull your brush without picking it up, the cleaner your edge will be. And we're going to float the edges, so I'm not too worried about getting them perfect right now. Okay, so let's keep going. Follow Groot down to the pot. It's going to come down all the way to the base of the pot there. And again, I'm brushing up and down as much as I can, so that all the grains are going in the same direction for the tree. Up and down, up and down. Smoothing it out, super important. And remember, with brown, you might need more than one layer. Brown is just super transparent, so try not to just keep painting over it over and over again. You'll want to let it dry and then add another layer. Okay, let's do these arms. They circle around, back up. Super simple. To the other side. Circles around. Everything's curved. Just gotta slow down, take your time with it. And there you go, there's your first layer. Perfect. Okay, so if you want more white in your wood, more of those streaks, you just add a little more white on your brush like this. And you can put them back in. I kind of lost mine, right? And if that happens, you just put a little more on your brush and do it again. No problem. I'm going to add more over here. I just like to see the wood grains a little bit. Just adds extra detail without a lot of work. You don't have to put too much effort into it. So I'm going to come to the other side. Just nice, because if you accidentally get too much, you just put a little more brown over it. Okay, put that on there. Perfect. You can see all the lighter strokes. I'm going to do the same here. Just lightly brush in some white. You can also take the time to do one more layer right now if you need it. Mine dries really fast for me, so I don't need to do that. Now that that's done, I'm just going to float my edges with a dark shade of brown. So make sure your bristles are damp. And while my paint is still a little wet, I'm going to take dark brown on the corner of my brush, like that. And let's see if it's dark enough or if we want to add some black to it. Because it just depends. Oh, I think it's great. So I'm going to follow around those edges with just brown. It's not mixed with white. And you'll see it kind of fades into your paint a little bit because it's still a little wet. And follow the bottom edge so you can separate the chin. I want Groot to be a little bit separated there. Okay, I'll follow the top up here. And this is how you can clean up your edges just a little. Right now, that's why I didn't worry too much, because you're going to float those edges and clean them up. You also will do some outlining, which will clean them up. So there's still lots of steps. You have to trust the process and know that there's still more to do. And come down this side. Here we go. Whoop. Straighten that out just a little bit. There it is. We'll do the same here. The arms are separated. I'm going to float the edge, kind of separate the arms. They're in the background a little more there. And let's give a shadow under the chin with our darker brown. Give ourselves a little bit of dimension there with our painting. And then let's float the arms all the way around that edge. I'll do the other side. Cleaning it up. This one here, follow it up. Keeping that brown on the corner of your brush. If you need to rinse and start again, you can. And then I like to put a little bit around the bottom of the eyes, the outline for the eyes. I put a little bit of dark brown there to give my eyes some dimension later. And you don't have to worry about having that perfect right now because you can paint inside the lines a little bit because you're going to paint them black later. So I do it now. It gives me a little bit of freedom later. Just like that. Looks so good. All right, let's rinse our brush. Rinse it out. Awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and start our earphones. So I have my red here, and you can do them straight red if you want. I add a little bit of yellow to my red because I like how rich it makes that color. Brightens it up a little bit. So I add a little yellow. And then I'm just going to paint this rectangle shape right next to Groot's head. It's about the same width as my brush, but you may need to use a smaller brush to outline it before painting it. You can clean up the edges with a detail brush if you need to. But I'm going to outline it later with black, so I'm not too worried about those edges. I just want to get the shape in there. I'm going to get up close to him, as close as I can. Just like that. Perfect. Okay, let's rinse our brush again. All right, now let's take just a minute to paint our pot. I'm going to do it a light gray. So I'm going to mix some white here with a touch of black to start with. That way you can adjust it because black is so strong that it will turn dark really fast. And I wanted to keep this pot lighter. But you can paint this pot any color you want. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and paint from side to side because our pot is round. So instead of going up and down now, I'm going to paint in almost a smile shape all the way down. Curving my brush. Imagine that you're painting a round pot, right? Your brush is going to wrap around the pot. You do have to paint your edges, obviously, so we have to go down the edges. Then we'll come back and curve it out again. So once I do the edges, I go back, just brush side to side. Just like that. And you can paint the pot on the bottom of your canvas right now if you want to. Wrap it around. And then let's do the top where the pot kind of comes up and around Groot, the back of Groot there. Gotta paint that back section. Just like that. Perfect. Now I'm going to float the edges of my pot. You don't need to do that, but I do just to add a little bit of shadow to my painting. So I put a little bit of black on my brush with my gray. Okay, and to separate the front from the back of my pot, I'm going to go right along this front edge in front of Groot. I can't talk anymore. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go back and forth, letting it kind of fade away into our wet paint. Just like that, and I'm curving it. Just helps our pot look more round, shows the direction it's going. Yeah. Awesome. I love it. All right. And then I will outline it in a minute, but I'm just going to float my edges in the front as well to go with that. There we go. Straight down the sides, floating that. And it doesn't need to be perfect because it's a clay pot, right? And we're going to outline it later. So I'm going to leave it now. And rinse my brush. Okay, let's use some black now. So I'm going to grab a detail brush, small brush to do detail work with, or lines. I'm going to put it in some water and now add that water to my black and really thin it out. Try and thin out that black as much as I can. And let's do just the inside of our pot here. Looks like a little triangle shape next to Groot. We're just adding the black there, just for the inside. Awesome. Fill it in. It's just easier with a smaller brush. Right? Let that dry just a minute. While it's drying, we're going to go up and work on our head here. Okay, so with Groot, we have some lines just to show where the wood is split, right? Really adds a lot of character to our painting. I'm going to show you how to do this. So the way you add those lines in wood is you want to do a little bit of black or dark brown, okay? Do a small line, then take your finger and pull it down. Let it fade out. See that? We're going to do it again over here next to our leaf. Just do a little line, take your finger, pull it, and let it fade out. Do it again here, right next to Groot. First, the next line, do the same thing. Pull it down. You can always add more to it if you want. I always start with a little bit though. And we'll do a little more up here, a little line, pull it down. So you can do different lengths, right, to give your painting some character. We want to add different lengths to our lines so they don't all look the same. We're trying to prevent a pattern from happening. Makes it a little more realistic. There we go. I have one more here. Awesome. And then if you want, you can add a couple little lines on the corners, just extra little details. And then I did a few on the bottom as well. One there, let's do a couple. Bottom of the head. There. It's just kind of a fun way to take out that perfectionism in us, you know, because a lot of times we want the perfect lines, and when we're painting wood, we want to try not to do that. Okay, so the arms are a little bit trickier. We're gonna first start at the top though and outline our head so we don't smear anything, and we'll work our way down. So the first thing I want to do is outline Groot now here with my black. Go around those edges just to clean him up a little bit and help him pop a little more. It is optional if you prefer not to. But that way he really stands out a little more. And come straight down. And then when I'm coming back up to outline, I won't smear the arms and everything. I have a really good habit of doing that while my paint is still wet. I always like to work my way down the canvas. And clean up that line right there. There we go. All right, now let's go ahead and outline the body all the way down to the pot. And it's not perfect lines or anything. He's moving. So keep that in mind. We don't have any perfect straight up and down lines, right? Groot is happy. He is dancing. Okay, so now that we have him outlined, let's give him all of those creases in his trunk, right? So right here, we're going to start at the corner, and it comes down and wraps around under the arm. All right, we have another one here. Curve it out. And this one comes up and around the trunk there. This one curves. So you can do what you want. You don't have to do it exactly like mine. All right, and then we're going to do the arms. Oh, we have one more here. Connects. There we go. Connects to it. And then the arm curves. And right now it looks like black lines, but I'm going to show you what to do in just a minute. There's a reason we're doing this now and letting the black dry. Okay, so now let's do up here, do the trunk or the base of the arm. Curve that out. Awesome. Let it dry just a minute. And let's finish up our pot. I'm just going to outline the base in the front there. And the back. Finish it up. Come right down each side. I love it. Now let's let that dry a minute and I'll show you how to finish it up. Okay, and while it's drying, let's go up here and just paint the outside of our earphones with black. And I'm gonna outline it first while I have it on my brush. Comes to a point on each side, then I fill it in. And then the outside of the earphone is just a rectangle shape there. It's going to come out, square it off there, fill it in. Okay, let's do our other side. Outline it first. Oh, I'm about to smear it, I told you. I tend to do that. I have a terrible habit. Smearing my paint. It's going to curve this edge out a little more. Do it over here. The top corner, come straight down. All right, now let's fill this one in. Love it. It's one of my favorite paintings. He's just so fun. And then we'll do our square on this one too. Coming out. We won't do the top yet. We got to paint our leaves. But I wanted to make sure Groot was totally dry before we do that. Gotta be dry. Looking good though, right? Gonna do that edge. Love it. Okay. Now I'm going to use a flat brush for the eyeballs and I'll show you why. But if you want to, you can use a detail brush and outline the eyes first before painting them. I like to use a flat brush because I have a little more control over a shape. And so I'll curve it. Oh, got too much water in that one. Boop. Curve it like this, and then come up the other way and meet the other side. And typically it works, but I got too much water. So Groot is crying. Take that off. Okay. Try it again. So we curve it around, match it up with the other side. Do it better over here for you, now that my water is out of my brush. Curve a C shape and then match it up with the opposite. And there you get a circle, and you can outline it with a detail brush and then paint it. It's just my favorite way to do those. Looks awesome. Let that dry a minute. And let's do our leaves. So you're gonna have to mix some color to get our leaves. I'm going to mix some blue and yellow. Let's take our brush, any brush you want. I think I'll use a small flat. Get it in some water, rinse it off, and let's mix a touch of blue at a time with our yellow to get our green color. And then a little bit of white. Just like that. And you're gonna mix until you like the shade. Okay. Add more yellow, add more blue, until you get the shade that you like. I wanted mine to be a little bit more limey. So I've added a lot more yellow. There we go. It's so fun to mix, and you can decide what colors you like best. All right, more blue will make it darker and more of a foresty green, and more yellow will make it more limey. Okay, so to paint a leaf, we're gonna practice with our top one here. That's all traced for you if you have our paint kit. Okay, when you're doing a leaf, you always wanna start at the base and create a smile, just like that. And then you'll go to the other side and connect your smile with a rainbow, just like that. And then you'll paint inside the leaf. Just like that. So let's do it again. We're going to add another little leaf. It's coming off over here if you want to, just off the corner. It's smaller. Okay, so I'm going to create my smile, just like that, and then connect it with a rainbow. And there's your little leaf. Isn't that cute? I love it. So cute. So fun. Okay, now I'm going to add just a little more blue to my paint to darken it. Add a little bit of a darker shade over it because I want it slightly darker. And you might need more than one layer on there. Rinse your brush. You get to just decide how you want that. And now let's take a flat brush, and to kind of give the illusion that there's moss growing along the top of his head, you're going to take a flat brush and put some green on the corner like that and float that green along the top of his head just like that. See that? I love it. It kind of just gives the illusion that he has that moss on the top of his head. So I'm just going to float that green along the edge. You can add more if you want to. I always start with just a little bit and see how I like it before adding more. Let's see. I think I'm going to add a little bit more over here. I'm going to brush it in. So fun. Love it. Isn't that awesome? Okay. Let's see. Make sure our leaves have a good layer on them. It might take you another layer just to finish them. But I think that's pretty good. All right, so here's the extra little thing you can add. So along all the black here, if you want, you can float a little bit of brown. So if you don't like the straight black lines on your painting, what I'll do is I'll take some of that dark brown and float along the edges to soften the outline a little bit. And it is a little extra thing you can do, not necessary, but if you feel like you want to soften the black lines, that's what I do. Just go along them a little bit with some brown. It also adds some dimension there too. Make it look like it's more indented in the tree. Do the same here along the brown. I just go right along it with that dark brown next to my black. And there you have it. Just great like that, right? Just softens them up. And you could just keep painting all day, right? And keep adding and changing things and playing with it. Just a lot of fun. All right, so I'm gonna let that be now. Rinsing my brush, we're almost finished. We're just gonna add our smile and connect, right? And our highlights. So let's take some black on our detail brush and let's paint a smile. Oh, I flicked my painting a little bit, huh? Okay, so right along under the eyes, I'm going to create a little mischievous smile here. See if I can get all the way across there. Pretty close. I'm going to call it a win. And then curve those edges a little bit. There we go. Cute. So cute. And now we're gonna do our antenna, our strap to connect our earphones. And I'm gonna use a flat brush because I like it better when I'm doing lines. But if you want to, you can use a detail brush too. Okay, and you're gonna start just here next to that square. Okay, you're gonna wrap it around and down. And yes, it's very scary because you don't know what's gonna happen, but we're gonna do our best because we are gonna remember that this is a painting, right? Not a print, so it's okay. Let's see. Come up on the other side, come around our leaf there. I went inside my leaf, so I gotta fix my leaf now. All right, there it is. I'm just gonna say that I did pretty dang good and I'm proud of myself. Because that was hard. All right. Come down on that edge. There we go. Ooh. Now let's take our green. I gotta put it back on my leaf right there. Fix that corner. And we did it. Hardest part, right? Hardest part. Okay. And we survived. There we go. Now let's take our detail brush, finish out the corners, just like that. And I'm going to add a center to my leaf. Curve it up the center. Do it to the other one. And we'll add a highlight in just a minute. Curve that out. And now guys, all you have left is your highlighting. And you can do the same thing with Groot's mouth too as you did with the rest. If you want to soften it, you just follow the edge with that dark brown to give a little bit of a shadow just under his mouth, just like you did with the rest of him. Okay, use the back of your brush, put it in some white, get yourself a chocolate chip, and let's put a highlight or a reflection in each of his eyes. Isn't that cute? It just brings him to life there. And then let's do our highlighting to finish up. I'm going to get a little bit of white on my brush. And we're going to add a highlight to our leaf. Oh, I grabbed some black. See? Happens, you guys. Grab some black in my leaf. It's okay. No big deal. We can fix it. Just have to paint over it. Black is just trickier to cover, so you want to avoid it as much as possible, hitting your black. All right, I'm going to get some white. Let's try it again. Let's do our highlighting. You can use a detail brush, you can float it, you do whatever you like. I'm going to add a highlight to my leaves, just like that. Make them pop just a little bit. And then we can add just a little bit of light to our tree as well, to the top of Groot's head. Oh. A little bit there. Anywhere you want it to pop. Just add a little white to it. And then we'll do a little bit on our earphones. I like to curve it like that so it looks like it's more round. Add just a little bit inside right here. And on the outside. Awesome. Looks so good. And now we're going to do the same highlighting like we did up top there, just along the bottom. Just add a little light next to the dark. Just like that. Now we'll add some here to the trunk. Anywhere you feel like, oh, I want that to stand out a little more. Do more here. And we'll do just a little bit here on this side. All right, I think you got it, guys. It's so awesome. Such a fun painting. You can go a little bit on the edge, and if you want more movement in your painting, you just highlight around the arms where you added that. See that? There you have it. I'm going, let's see, where did I do that? Oh, got a little spot. I smeared my eye, huh? Fix that. There you go. All done. All right, you guys did awesome. I hope you had fun painting this with me. It's such a good one. It's a lot of fun to do. I also outlined just the edges of the earphones here if you want to finish that up too. But otherwise, you are done. I'm going to sign my name now. Find a spot for my signature. I hope you'll sign too because you should be proud of yourself. That was a big painting. And it's a good one. If you had fun with me, give us a thumbs up and come back for more. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.